hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Hey there, welcome to this episode of Your Ultimate Life. Really excited today. Today's part 2 of something I promised you, which was about message, method, and mastery. Now, the message I did a couple of episodes ago, and then we had Sam last episode that was really good. If you haven't seen the one before this, please do. He's got some amazing skills and amazing tools. And you know what's interesting? The more people I interview, and I've got a dozen right in front of me lined up for the next few weeks, and I'm excited about them. And here's why. Every person wants to be happy. You want to be happy. Maybe you define happy as more money. If I had more money, everything would be okay. Maybe you define happy as a good relationship. Maybe you define happy as health. Every one of those things has been my absolute pinnacle of happy at different times. When I was, growing up and starting in business, starting with a job and working and stuff, I had this imagination, well, if I could just get up in the company, get some more money, get some more promotions. And I looked at every 6 months or every year, whatever the thing was. And when I was an apprentice, there was in training, it was a program for ascension. And I was stoked about all that. And I looked at, 3 more months and I get more money, another $50 a month or $100 a month. And in those days, that was a lot. Today, it's barely lunch. And so that was getting up. That was happy, more money. There's been times like when I was sick in the hospital, when I was in a coma, where health was the only thing I cared about. I couldn't care less about anything else. Now, I took some things for granted. My angel, I'm married to an angel. I don't know about you, but sometimes she glows in the dark. She would come every day, twice a day, and take care of the animals and run a business. And, I can't even imagine what it was like for her doing what she had to do. But she did. But the only thing, I took that for granted, unfortunately. But the only thing I was worried about was health, because I was in a coma for 3 weeks, nearly 17 or 18 days. And when I came out of it, the disease has ravaged my body so badly I couldn't move. Like my first assignment, get this, my first assignment was to sit in a chair for 10 minutes. That was so painful, I begged after 5 to get back in bed. And my wife was there and she wasn't going to let me. So, kudos to her. So that was the most important. That's what I needed for happy. And when relationship thing was complicated with me, I was so terrible at that. I failed with 3 different marriages. And today, that's not even remarkable. But once upon a time, that was unthinkable. But anyway, so, having a great relationship like I have now was not even in the realm of thinking. So what makes us happy, it changes, but we all want to be happy, right? And so here's the thing, here's why this message that I talked about in episode 950 is so important. You can have anything you want. You really can. And the message, really, there's 5 parts to it, and I'm going to talk more about those in future episodes. Your worth, your identity, your possibility, your ownership, and your sovereignty. And we've talked before about divinity, capability, and possibility. But anyway, so that's the thrust. I talked there about the message that I have for 300 million people, and that, of course, includes you, yum. And today I want to talk about methods, and the power that is necessary to do something. Because if I want to climb, if I'm going to swim down this river behind me, if you're not watching the video, you should be. There's a beautiful river, and looks like a bridge way down there. Yeah, a bridge, or maybe it's a cable crossing. And, if I want to swim down there, that takes power. It takes energy. It takes knowing how to swim and stuff. I say cable because it looks to me like that's a cable. When I was a kid, and I was on my cousin's farm in Wyoming, there was a river that ran through the property, and part of his land was on one side of the river and part was on the other side. And there was a place where they had a thing just like that across the river. two pillars on each side, and there was a cable that went across. And I think there was a little car that they went out in on it to measure the depth of the river and the flow and stuff like that, because that changed dramatically over the year, because his farm was way up in the high country, above 5,000 feet, above a mile. And so the snow came a lot, and there was a lot of snow melt, so forth. But anyway, one day, of course, I had to try to go across the river on the cable. So I got my gloves on and, climbed up the tower and hooked my heels over and, gradually got across. And it was a lot harder than I thought, and it was scary. And I thought, gee, I wonder if I'm going to have to drop off in the river. And it wouldn't have been death. It wasn't a rushing river. And it was deep enough so that I wouldn't get hurt from the fall. But anyway, it was harder than I thought. And that's, that is symptomatic of creating the life we want. We imagine a life with health, wealth, happiness, prosperity, cash, whatever words you want to use. I use purpose, prosperity, and joy, because when any of those pieces have been missing, it's more difficult. Now, I have learned, and this is a learned skill, I've learned to simply be happy all the time, no matter what's going on. I'm just happy because I choose to. Even when things, quote, suck or would have sucked in some definition in the old way. I don't live there anymore. Don't believe it. Don't want to be part of that. Don't have that energy in my life anymore. So anyway, purpose, prosperity, and joy. That's what we're trying to create. A couple episodes ago was about the message, which we'll do some more episodes on. But today, this is about means or method. Now, there's a funny commercial that I've seen on TV, and it's all different kinds of iterations. It must be successful because that bank has had at least 10 versions that I've seen, and maybe there's 50, I don't know. But there's stuff goes on in the commercial where someone's trying to buy something or do something with the credit card, and something doesn't go well, and then some dude, and it's the same dude in every commercial, what's in your wallet? That question, what's in your wallet? And it's advertising some bank, and obviously trying to say that the credit card that they have, or maybe it's a debit, or maybe it's both, is better than everybody else's, and so it's more powerful. It's like got a cape on, right? Flies to the rescue in every situation. What's in your wallet? And this is a question I want to ask you. So if you want to create your ultimate life, you need both energy and tools. It isn't going to create because you wave a wand. We don't do Harry Potter. There is actually a lot of magic. I use the term alchemist. I'm the ultimate alchemist. I am. And that means a mixture of science and magic to create miracles. I've seen them, I create them, I live in them every day, and they can happen. But the way they happen isn't with a wand where you wave it, a stream of light comes out, and boink, something comes into existence or is obliterated out of existence. But there are powers and capabilities that cause unexpected and unexplained things to happen, i.e., miracles. Wouldn't it be nice to have control over that? The good news is you do. You do. I'm going to say it a third time. You have control over that energy and power. Now, it is not as easy as you wish it would be. You're thinking of scenes, speaking of Harry Potter, from, potions class or spells or whatever, when Neville or some other character, tried to use his wand and turned somebody into a turnip, or, and then didn't know how to reverse it, or all that kind of stuff. You know what? That is exactly reflective of you and me using the tools that there are to control that unexplained, unexpected, and powerful creative energy that we have before we're prepared or as we're learning. And learning requires mistakes. Learning requires falling down. Think of riding a bicycle. Think of learning to walk. Think of learning to play the piano or any other instrument, your first recital, your first ballet performance, or your first drama show, or your first prezi in front of the class, where it was nervous and hard and scary and you swore you'd never do it again, etc. So learning to use the powers of this world takes effort, takes energy, and it's doable. That's the important part. There's nothing that prevents you or me from learning to control both the science and the magic that creates whatever outcomes we want. Like if you're here and you want to go here, whether it's wealth, you have 1,000 and you'd like $100,000, or you're healthy, you're not healthy, you weigh 50 pounds too much and you want to release that. Climbing that staircase, there's a road. There are a set of actions, behaviors, language, speaking, connections, people that will allow you to walk the road or climb the staircase from here to here. Sometimes it's kind of like Kung Fu Panda climbing those stairs, right? He would crawl up them and it took him forever and ever and ever and ever and every time. And it was part of the funny of the Kung Fu Panda series. So that's the kind of effort that it will take. Like nothing good comes easy. It comes by following a simple set of processes. And I'm going to talk about what some of those are because I want you to have them. And I say some of them because there's way too many to just talk about in a single episode, right? Like I can't tell you every possible tool that you can use to build or find or create your life purpose, prosperity, and joy, right? Ultimate life. And you can substitute, and I'm sure you do, whatever words you want. Rich and famous, and I don't care. Purpose, prosperity, and joy for me. And actually, frankly, for most people that I talk to. So let's talk about some of the tools to create a purpose. Well, it takes some introspection. It takes some thinking about what is a life purpose. A mistake I used to make is I used to think that one day a purpose was going to land on me like a dove from heaven or an Amazon box on the porch, and I was going to look at it, and it was going to fill me with such rapture that I knew for sure this was it, no doubt, no question, and it also came with the certainty and power to just keep pursuing it forever, no matter what. Well, that didn't happen for me. And I don't know how it happened for anyone. I have talked to a lot of people, guests here and other places, coaching clients and stuff that say, after this or that happened, I just knew that's what I was supposed to do. I have absolutely had that, heard that, and I've had some form of that experience, and the level was tremendous. It didn't come with instructions about how, and usually doesn't, but what it came with and can for you is a knowledge, a certainty, a feeling that this is what you ought to do, and this is what you're meant to do. Now, what deflects or diffuses or shrivels or shrinks that feeling is when we start and it fails. When everybody doesn't salute and line up. Oh, yeah, that's it. You're it. Oh, man. Yeah, of course. When that doesn't happen, we're like, oh, wow, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe that's not maybe I misheard God or the universe. Maybe I wasn't listening. And so we do that. Now, no purpose is going to be without trial, tribulation, struggle, growth. You can think your purpose is to play the piano. And I'm not going to quote the whole thing, but in one of Stephen Pressfield's books, he talked about some particular pianist and the effort and energy that it took over months and years sometimes to learn a song. He said, it took all these hours to get 120,000 notes played in the right order with the right expression, et cetera, et cetera. And he talked about the blood, sweat, and tears required to create that particular magic. Now, you may look at me now and say, that's overwhelming, I'm not interested, and you're free to do that. At any moment, you're free to say, I am not interested in doing that work. Okay. I'm inviting you to reconsider. You are a divine being, you know that. You came from the same God I did. Whatever form you see that in, the creative force built us. And the way we're built is to love and serve. The way we're built is with gifts and talents. And the thing about means and power that we're talking about today is to find and choose a purpose. And I use both those words on purpose Because finding a purpose or a thing that says, wow, it would be so cool if I could help people realize they don't need to be sad forever after a loved one dies. Or it would be so amazing if I could help someone get through cancer and teach them not only the resources, but the mindset hacks and the things to do to create hope and get through this illness and lung cancer. And I have that skill because I had it. I didn't. But if I did, I have a client who has tons of experience with cancer, and that's his jam. And he's great at it. Why? Because that was his experience. And you're going to find that your passion, your purpose comes out of your experience. You don't have a life over here and then have some passion over there. Your passion comes from your experience. And that's wonderful because that's where you have power, your experience. So what do I have to give you for framework? So first of all, I've created a whole series of frameworks to help you find or choose your passion and own it with fierce ownership so that you love it and you live it every day. Now, if you want my help doing that, if you don't right now to the core of your soul know what your passion is, please get a hold of me. There's a URL on the screen, KellanFluckigerMedia.com. Go there. Don't hesitate. There's a contact form. Contact me. I have a foolproof process to help you find your passion, find your purpose. And when you do, then you have to do part 2, which is a choice. You have I look like Max Headroom. There's some little squiggles here. I don't know what's going on with the camera, but that's, oh well, have to deal with it. So you're going to have to decide that you're going to be dedicated to it. You're going to have to drop the hammer and say, I am committed to this thing, no matter what, just because you said so. Because I can promise you, whatever your purpose is, whether it's learning 120,000 notes or helping people with cancer or helping women who are going through menopause or helping people that are overcoming narcissistic relationships or helping people who have suffered sexual abuse or other kinds of childhood trauma or anything, helping people get financially literate so they don't live in fear, helping people overcome tons of fears that they might have, public speaking or presenting or lack of self-worth or depression or how to rise and shine because you were built to rise and shine. But my rising and shining and yours is going to be because we earn it, we work it, and we do it. And I'm here to help. That's all I do. I help people who have that yearning to discover, develop, and serve and get well paid with their skills, gifts, talents, love, passion. That's it. The most important thing you can give me and the rest of the world is your full-on, authentic self, your love, your passion, your being. Please don't deny me that any longer. So one of the frameworks I have is called the Triple Helix. And this is a process where I help you weave together the skills you already have, the gifts you already have, the life experience you already have into the most powerful offering in the world for you, not for anybody, but your most powerful offering so you can serve, make some cash, and live in purpose, prosperity, and joy. That is a framework I have, Triple Helix. If you want me to help you with it, call me up. Let's talk. Contact form, KellanFluckigerMedia.com. KellanFluckigerMedia.com. This is not a sales pitch. This is not anything else. My passion, my ultimate life is to help every person I can. This year I have a goal of 300 million to discover, to develop, and serve with your divine gifts and talents, which I know you have, etc. So the Triple Helix is just one. I have another book called Walking Without Fear. And it talks about the 4 life threads, the life thread of value, the life thread of connectedness, how alone we feel, the life thread of worth, how worthy we feel. And there's some more, but there are 4 main life threads. And most of the time we don't think about where we are on that framework. Where are we from feeling worthless to feeling precious? Where are we from feeling totally isolated, connected, or united? And these 4 threads are ultra powerful, not just because of the words, but because most people never do the work to figure out where am I on those four threads and what do I need to do to move toward the powerful end where you know you're united, you're powerful, you're precious. So that's another one, the four life threads. Another one that I have is the framework called the story arc, which is a process to help you tell your story, whether you tell it in a product or a service or a book. I'm getting ready to start pretty soon. By the time you see this, it's likely it won't have started yet. It starts on the 24th of February. This episode drops on February 21. So if you see this episode and you want to be part of that, man, join. It's a book challenge. But it's not only about books, it's how to create products and services based on your gifts, talents, yearning, passion, and all the rest. Now, my question about means and power is, what do you have? Maybe you're already in something. I was talking to somebody earlier this morning who is very, very interested in this book process I have, where they want to write the book and get it published. My wife runs a publishing company, and we've published a lot of books, not just mine. She has a spectacular record getting Amazon #1 bestsellers, and create a course and learn about marketing and. And so she was really excited about that. And so she sent a message to me, and she said, yeah, and I'm already committed to do this off-the-grid healing program in Hawaii in the middle of March, and I might miss something and this and that. Your life's full, I know that. And so I'm not trying to necessarily shove you into one of my programs. What I am trying to do is ask you what you're using right now to get to your ultimate life. Because that's all I'm trying to do. Help you get to your life where you love every day you get up. You get up every single day and you are so content, you can't stand it. And I don't mean content that you're lazy and sit around and do nothing. I mean content that you're happy. Like delirious, silly, happy, jumping up and down. You can be that way if you want to. Maybe you don't want it. Maybe the idea of being that happy just scares crap out of you. It's like, yeah, no, I don't need that. I'd rather be kind of, medium, in the middle. Okay. You're free to do that. So my question for you is, what books, programs, seminars, daily rituals, activities do you have that you're using right now to create your ultimate life? What are they? If you can't list them to me right now and tell me the things you're actively engaged in, then they're nothing. They're garbage. They're shelf help. They're useless. Because if you're actively using them, right this minute. So for example, if you say, if you have more weight than you want, you're overweight, and you have decided some time ago you're going to release some pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds, doesn't matter. One time in my life, I lost 90 pounds, actually. I was 80 pounds, maybe a little more overweight, and I decided I was done. And I did it the hard way. No drugs, no help, no surgeries, just martial arts and diet, and changed everything I was eating, and et cetera, et cetera. And I did it, and it took a while, took a year, but I did it, and I got in fabulous, spectacular shape, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe you're doing that. And if you are, and I said to you, what tools are you using? You'll say, well, I got this gym membership. I go twice a week. I'm eating this particular kind of food, and here's how much progress I have, and I'm stoked because of this, that, and the other. Like, the tools that you're using is the operative word. The ones that you bought that are sitting on the shelf, yeah, so what? I've had a million of those too. So what tools and frameworks are you using? My mentioning the story arc, and I have another one I didn't even talk about called the results equation. The subtitle of that book is From Dream to Done in 5 Simple Steps. I wrote the results equation as a result of my decades of consulting work in very high profile, high pressure, sometimes $100 billion situations. And I learned a system that I created. Yes, I was influenced by many things, that's foolproof for planning and execution. How I adapted it was for you and me, simple people who have small companies or are on your own. That is way different than any project planning and execution system and strategy in any company, because there is institutional momentum and frameworks and guidelines when you have big companies. When you're by yourself or you're the head of a small team, way different. So the results equation is another framework and set of tools. So my question to you is to just think about right now, like what's in your wallet, what tools and programs and processes are you actively and furiously using at this time? Really interesting question. Because here's the final piece. None of that matters if you're not using them. No tool or process matters. I always say as a joke, I can watch and have watched videos of people doing amazing feats. Most recently, I don't know why, but in my feed, I don't know if it's Instagram or Facebook, a lot of these videos have come up of people jumping off of cliffs and doing, backflips and incredible things down into some river or lake. And they look scary, and it looks like, balls and anything. Wow, unbelievable. And so that is doing. And you can believe that didn't happen just in a minute, right? I've learned to play the piano really well. I've learned to arrange and orchestrate. That took the work, the tools, the practice to make it real, and so will yours. So I have shared many tools, created them all for me, and they work, I know, because they're battle tested, and I use them now with clients and folks like you. So if you want tools that are foolproof, tools that will help you create cash, tools that will help you identify and monetize your life story and experiences. Sometimes when I say that, people get scared. They go, ooh, I can't tell I'm scared. My family, my friends, people that know me, oh dear. You need to get over that. Because the most powerful thing, most lucrative thing you can offer is the truth. Because after you have overcome or are along the way in the process of changing and growing, that's the most valuable stuff you have to offer. That's the good stuff. Okay? When you're done, it just looks like you're done, and people can say, wow, I must have had luck or whatever. When you are in the trenches, crawling sometimes over the broken glass, and you're working your way up the mountain or working your way down this river, down to the cable or wherever it is, that's when you have my attention and everybody's. Think about a movie. The movie, you don't rush to the end and look at the final scene and see that the good guys won and how many people died along the way. The story is the process, the suspense, the daring, the tension, the work, the brilliant idea, the last-ditch stand. That's the part we like. Just this morning, because of something else going on, I felt to call up a piece. Oh, I know. I got an email from a client who talked about making change, and she said in the email that nobody's coming to save you, and she referenced on the fifth day at dawn, look to the east. And that's a scene from one of the Lord of the Rings. I think it's one of the Hobbit movies. No, Lord of the Rings movies. The Return of the King, where Gandalf rode off to get the Rohirrim, and the Theoden King was in Helm's Deep. And suddenly, Aragorn and Theoden, they said, we're going to ride out again. The horn in Helm's Deep, it will sound once again. And so the dwarf ran up and blew the horn. That was the thing. I mean, that was so powerful. The choice to act, the choice to say, I don't quit. Not me, not now, not ever. And they thought, they were riding to death for death and glory. And of course, the story, it wasn't. And at that moment, help came. Help is available. When that individual wrote in the email, Gandalf coming from the east, that's not really going to happen. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because if you actually look at the scene, him showing up at dawn on the fifth day on a white horse, Shadowfax, with the host of Rohirrim, that didn't end the battle. That didn't fix anything. They still had to go through the horrific experiences. And you and I probably were not in a war, Probably our life's not at stake today. Might be, but probably not. So here's your question. Are you willing to mount up and go after your dream? Are you willing one last time to go pursue your ultimate life, to serve, to live in purpose, prosperity, and joy, to find your purpose, to serve, to do that thing? Because, we're not jumping on a horse riding into a host of orcs, probably going to die. That's not happening. Sometimes it might feel like it, but it's not true. So I invite you in the deepest part of my heart, because help is available. When we declare boldly and greatly, help does come from unexpected and unseen places. And it's never come for me in the form of Shadowfax and Gandalf on the hill, but it has come, and it comes all the time in unexpected and powerful ways. My mission is to help 300 million people create your ultimate life. You, right here, right now. So I invite you, reach out. Let me help you. KellanFluckigerMedia.com. There's a contact form. Reach out or not. But the tools you have don't matter unless you use them. The desire you have doesn't matter unless you do something with it. The dream and the yearning you're feeling won't do anything unless you take action. That's not a threat. It's just the way growth works. From learning to play the piano, learning to paint, learning to skateboard, learning to speak, learning to create money, learning to live in purpose, prosperity, and joy. But I can make you one final promise as we close up here, and that is this. Nothing can stand in your way. The means, the tools, the frameworks, what's in your wallet, it's all available to you, and you have to go get it, number one, and then you have to use it. And I found that the most important part of that is the courage to ask for help, and then the courage to execute. And getting all the help you need, it's available. I'm here. If I can help you, maybe you have all the help you need. Maybe you're well on your way to your ultimate life. But if you're not, let's go. You're worth it. You're worthy. I want to invite you. If you'd like to talk, I want to talk. If you have a story you'd like to share, I'd like to have you on the show. Let's talk and see, because I'd love to share your message, your journey, your growth, your process. Because I know you can help people, just like I do, to create their ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe, share,